Theater of absurd. Today we discuss this term. What is the meaning of absurd and what theater stand here? Let's start. The definition. Theater of the absurd, dramatic work of certain European American dramatist. So first thing is that it was the dramatic works of European and American dramatist. What they did of 1950s and 60s who agreed with the existentialist philosopher Albert Camus. In his essay The Myth of Sisyphus, that Albert Camus in his essay The Myth of Sisyphus, that was the essay that was written by existentialist philosopher Albert Camus, and in this essay he said that human situation is essentially absurd. And what is the meaning of absurd? That it is devoid of purpose. It is purposeless. It is meaningless. So this was the philosophy of Albert Camus, and in his essay The Myth of Sisyphus he explained that philosophy, and that philosophy influenced various dramatists of Europe and America that worked on that philosophy. The term is also loosely applied to the dramatist and the production of those work. Though no formal absurdist movement exists as such, dramatists as diverse as Samuel Beckett, Eugene Ionesco, Jean Genet, Arthur Adamou, Harold Pinter. So these were the chief dramatists who worked on the philosophy of absurd, and few others shared a pessimistic vision of human struggling vainly to find a purpose and control its fate. Humankind is, this view is left feeling hopeless, bewildered and anxious.
I am happy.
I am happy.
So am I.
So am I.
We are happy.
We are happy.
What do we do now that we're happy? You should have been a poet.
Oh, I was, isn't that obvious? Que voulez-vous?
I beg your pardon?
Que voulez-vous?
Ah, que voulez-vous? Exactly. How does it fit me?
How would I know?
Well, that passed the time.
It would have passed in any case.
So, through definition, we can say that the theory of theater of absurd is based on Albert Camus' statement that human life is devoid of meaning and it's absurd. What Martin Esslin said about this, let's discuss. The theater of absurd is a theatrical embodiment and manifestation of existentialism. It is part reality and part nightmare. And part reality. that we can say that is a dramatic embodiment of human reality and nightmarish situation. Origin. Let's discuss. Critic Martin Esslin coined the term in 1960s. That this term, theater of absurd, was coined by Martin Esslin in 1916 in his essays The Theater of the Absurd, which begins by focusing on the playwright Samuel Beckett, Arthur Adamo, Eugene Ionesco. Esslin says that their plays have a common denominator, the absurd, a word that Esslin defines with a quotation from Ionesco. That Esslin described what is the meaning of absurd in this way. Absurd is that which has no purposes or goal or objective. So what is absurd? Absurd is a situation that has no meaning, no purpose and no objective. The French philosopher Albert Camus in 1914 essays Myth of Sisyphus described the human situation as meaningless and absurd, as we have already told. The absurd in these plays take the form of man's reaction to world, apparently without meaning. Man's reaction to world. How man react in this world. And his actions are without meaning, or man is a puppet controlled by or menaced by invisible outside forces. And human being is just a puppet. The style of writing was first popularized by Eugene Ionesco in his play The Bald Soprano. So this was the first time in his play Eugene Ionesco, The Bald Soprano, that form was introduced. The first edition of the Theatre of Absurd, Esslin called the French philosopher Albert Camus' Myth of Sisyphus had used the word absurdity to describe the human situation. In a universe that is sudden deprived of illusion and of light, that this universe is without light and illusion, and man feels a stranger. This divorce between man and his life, action and his setting truly constitute the feeling of absurdity. So Martin Esslin described that man in this world, this is the world and man is here without light and without illusions, and there is a contradiction between his feeling, action and man. So this divorce brings the condition of absurdity. Characteristics. The play focused largely on idea of existentialism and express what happens when human actions lack meaning or purpose and communication break down. So what is the condition of existentialism? When man lacks meaning, purpose and communication. The structure of play is typically a round shape, and the structure of play is in a round circle that action follow each other and brings to the same point where it has been started, with the finishing point the same as the starting point. Logical construction argument give way to the irrational, illogical speech or the ultimate conclusion, silence. So the characteristic of this play is that the play ends at where it has been started, and there is no logical development of character, dialogue or plot, but runs in a circular way. Plays within this group are absurd in that they focus not on logical acts, realistic circumstances, occurrences, traditional character development. They instead focus on human being trapped in an incomprehensible world, subject to any occurrence, no matter how illogical. So there is no logical structure, no logical development, but illogical, contradictory dialogues and situation occur. Let's take the examples. Jean Genet's The Mads, Eugene Ionesco The Bald Soprano, Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot. In 1957, Genet The Balcony, and Harold Pinter The Room and The Birthday Party are example of this type of play, and Edward Albee's The Jew Story.